Welcome everybody to this edition of Coffee with the Coaches. Coffee with the Coaches is brought to you by My Pinnacle Network. I'm Joe DeRamo. I'm one of the partners of My Pinnacle Network. My other partner is on the call here, Steve Dubin. He's the one with the funny face, uh, who has gone into his caricature. My Pinnacle Network is a business-to-business networking organization. We have 4 virtual locations. Uh, Westboro, Mansfield, Marshfield, and Newton. We meet once a month. People in the groups are business to business professionals. Several of our call attendees are members of that group, including our coaches. We have Ed Grant of the Alternative Board of Nashoba Valley and Flavia Guerreiro of the Alternative Board of Boston West. So say hello, guys, because people might be confused as to who's who, but
Hello.
Very good. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Some familiar faces and a few new faces. So that's great.
Great to see everyone.
All right.
so
Yeah,
let's get going.
Yeah, let's roll into it. People can catch back up. It won't be too hard to. All right, I'm going to share my screen a little quick for a couple moments, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go back to here. Yeah. Well, first. Am I sharing is always a question.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great. Now I got to just bring my own screen back into view here. All right, great. All right, good. So good morning, everyone. So today's workshop in focus is on sharpening your fourth quarter focus. So, really, it's never too late to plan. And then the sub question is, do you have a plan? So we're gonna talk about that and where everybody is, and as we get ready to kind of wrap up the comes a little bit of a presumption that everyone is working on a fiscal calendar year type thing. We know not all businesses do, but most of the folks in our world running our types of businesses are running on a calendar year situation. The intro, Joe mentioned myself and Flavia from the Alternative Board. Happy to be here today with you guys. And let's see here. In today's topic, really what we're going to talk about here is, strong fourth quarter can turn a good year into a great one, salvage a less than stellar one. So, how are you positioned heading into the last quarter? That's really the question. All right. So what are we going to go through today? So we're going to have, a quick overview of the topic we just talked about. We're going to do some introductions, and we're going to tee up some questions for you guys to answer during your intro. So part of it's going to be a normal kind of intro like you do at a networking meeting. Then there's going to be a couple other questions specific to what we're talking about today. We'll have a discussion about that at the end of that. Everybody will have a chance to do that intro. And then we're going to do a breakout session where we actually go into a stoplight exercise that we're going to introduce to you guys today. You'll all be able to take away the full exercise at the end of the meeting. We'll send it out after, but we're going to dive in and play around in there today and give you an idea of how to make use of it. And then you can all do with it what you would like after for your own benefit and forward. So that's what we've got there. The next.
Did Ed freeze for everyone?
Ed froze. Okay. Well, this is when we. I was going to say I'm going to the backup plan, which is opening up the presentation. But Flavia, if you have it as a PowerPoint, you're more than welcome.
I do. I'm happy to share, but I need you to stop his share if you can, Joe.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Backup plan. All right, great. Oh, and he fell off altogether. So we'll keep moving through here. I'm going to share my screen. I'm not on the right slide, so bear with me. So we want to start by getting to know you a little bit, by having you meet one another. And this is like, the baseline. Let's get a sense of what's going on in your business, in your life. So I'll put this in the chat, but by the way, I'm assuming you can see my screen, correct?
You might have to make it a little bigger.
Okay.
If you can.
I will throw all this in the chat, so I'm gonna make it Where's my play here? There you go. That's better. So tell us your name and company, a brief description, how many years you've been in business, and are you operating against a formal annual plan? And if you answered yes, are you tracking on it? Are you ahead or behind plan? And what are the things that are impacting your current situation? What has been some of the things that positively impact your business and your performance against the plan, and perhaps what is negatively impacting your performance in your plan? And if you're not tracking against a plan, you can still tell us, what the trends have been, what have been the positive impacts and the negative impacts on your business. I will stop sharing and I'll throw this in the chat, and because I would love for us to be able to see one another and have a quick discussion. So throw this in the chat. Hi.
Well, that was very rude of my internet to abruptly throw me out mid. Wow, that was a good one. Oh, all right. Well,
okay, so
Ed, I've already teed up everybody. They're ready to go. So if you want to facilitate, the prompts are in the chat, and we can start the discussion. If you want to take it,
Flavia, thank you. All right, perfect. So I don't know where I cut out what I was talking about. Let's do this. So we're gonna go around, name and company, years in business. If you're operating with a plan, yes or no, that depending on your environment. Hopefully it's a yes, but you might be working on someone else's plan versus your own. And then if you are operating on a plan, boom, let's talk about whether you're on track, ahead.
Hang on 1 second.
All right, and
we can start. With. Let's see, Gina, you were here first, so I think you should go first.
Yeah, we'll go. So Gina,
Sounds good.
There, Gina.
Okay, Gina Atoff, Promo Print Plus, print and promotional products. We help businesses find the right promotional product for them, including marketing. I've been in business for 6.5 years. I have a business coach, and we have a plan that we have put together. And yes, I'm working against it. We are tracking, although I want to be like paying more attention to it than I have. Some years I'm super like all over it, and some years I'm not, depending on what's going on. And so I'm I have a big sales goal, and behind on that, but it's okay because I changed who I was trying to target, and as a result, some people have fallen off that I wanted to fall off, and others are on. So I'm behind, but it's okay. So that was impacting. Yeah. So I've gotten some big new clients that are due to do a lot of revenue in the upcoming years. So I see that growing in the upcoming years.
Okay. So Gina, what would you say at this point? You feel like you're tracking, you want to put some more attention on it. What areas, what's positively impacting performance, and what might be negatively? Where's that focus want to be right now to pay more attention, would you say?
Yeah, so I want to be paying more attention to what I said I was going to do. And then, like, it's very hard in my industry because you never know what's going to happen. You pick up the phone and somebody giant's calling you and wants to place big orders and do things. And there's just so much unknown. And I've done, a lot of things to try and get that, not to network and do all sorts of other stuff, but negatively impacting it is just sort of the unknown. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Very good. Okay, great. Thanks. So you'll hold that for the breakout session. That'll be a great segue into the next exercise. So we'll keep rolling around. So let me go by who I see next. Eddie Payson, let's go with you next. I see you on the screen.
Hi guys, my name is Eddie Payzons with Adams.com, provider of business telephone solutions. We've been in the business for 20 years as of a couple weeks ago. And right now we are operating with a plan very newly created. And we are operating off of it. We are tracking it The last couple of questions I don't have an answer for because it's a bit new and I'm a bit new, so I don't have those answers yet. But when I do, I'll get them to you.
No problem. So since it is new and stuff, is there an energy or vibe that says that, hey, it's a doable plan? Is it people feeling good about it, or
I would say, yeah, I'd say 100%.
Yeah.
We feel good about it, and absolutely extremely doable.
All right. Super. Thank you, Eddie. All right, Carol, how about you?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you. I'm here by way of Steve, so thank you, Steve, for making me aware. I am a psychologist and wellness coach. I've been in the field of psychology for 25 years, and after many years of working in a clinical role, I am switching into consulting. So this year is very new. I left my job. I was working for myself up until 2020. Then I took a job at the Brigham and had the cushion of a salary for a little while. And I left in October because I am meant to be an entrepreneur and my wings wanted to fly. So I am loving it and I'm really energized by it. I do have a financial goal. I'm falling short at the moment. And I would say the reason is because this is all very new. This is year one for me. And so there's a big learning curve in terms of how to pitch my message and who my target client is, and especially what format of training. So what I'm looking to do is provide trainings on time management and personal effectiveness for organizations. I have my ideas as a psychologist. I have my ideas about the ideal mode of training, which means working together for a longer period of time to create sustained change. But a lot of organizations want to hire for a short, come in for an hour and do a presentation. And so I'm doing a little bit of a dance between meeting them where they are comfortable and trying to nudge towards what I think will be most effective. So it's slowing down my growth a little bit, but I think things are going to look great for year two because of all the work I've done to create a pipeline in year one.
Good. Thank you, Carol. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. All right. How about you next? Good to see you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. So my name is it's Arthur William Stamaris, and my company name is my initials, not Amazon. But I've been in business now for about 8 years, since 2015. I've been handling payment processing, as you can see by my logo background, and also electric bill savings. So I'm a partner in cash flow to my customers. I help them save money, and also credit card processing is most of their revenue is generated through that. I'm not currently operating against a formal annual plan. Sounds like a pretty good idea. I've got kind of a system in place. I'm not so much tracking. I'm ahead of last year, so I guess that's one way to track it. One thing that's impacting my current situation, I guess in a good way, is that I'm expanding in addition to payment processing and electric bill savings to EV car charging stations. And so I'm trying to contact developers for that matter. What I'm doing generally is I'm trying to attract more multi-level locations and also franchises. So those are a couple of things I'd like to be getting into. And I guess that covers it because I don't actually have a plan in place.
Yeah, that's all right. But you do feel, and you're ahead of last year and some metric. Now, would that be a financial measurement you're talking about there? Yeah, very good. All right, very good. Well, that's good. So I think you'll see this in the next section. Maybe something you can grab onto to use in lieu.
Oh, that'd be excellent.
All right, very good. All right, Christopher, let's go with you next.
Good morning, everyone. Chris Downey. I am as most people are, a senior vice president with the Federal Savings Bank. We have a lot of them in our bank, as most do. I am a mortgage banker, however. And last year we did a merger with our former company, Harbor Mortgage Solutions, a company my father founded in 1978. I joined it in 1988, so I've been with the firm for 35 years. And last year we did a merger with the Federal Savings Bank, which essentially gave us a shot of steroids. Enabled us to do business in all 50 states, and gave us a lot more diversity in terms of our product lineup and whatnot. But for the most part, we are doing the exact same thing that we've done for the last 45 years. And that is residential mortgage lending, specifically in the areas of jumbo lending, which is pretty much all of the greater Boston area these days, and reverse mortgage lending in senior and elder housing issues, another niche specialty of ours. We are very much operating to a plan. I am head of a department of about 25 people, and we are watching our metrics very closely, very carefully, and we are monitored very closely and very carefully. So we have both monthly, quarterly, and of course annual projections. And so watching that very closely, that's a little bit of a different ballgame for me, as going from a family-owned business to now working for a federally chartered bank. But I knew what I was getting myself into, and so far we are wrapping up our honeymoon period right now. And using that analogy, the biggest complaints that we have are our partner is not putting the toothbrush back in the toothbrush holder the way we would like them to, but nothing too much more significant than that. So if you have any residential mortgage financing needs, we would be a go-to provider for those services. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So how long ago was that merger, Chris?
I'm right now, not that I'm counting the days, but 1 year and 17 days.
Yes. So a full cycle. Now you've basically got almost a full cycle with a full fiscal year. Are you guys on a fiscal year, or you want that's different than calendar, or do you have a calendar?
Yeah, good question. That took some adjustment. We were on a fiscal year, and which went from April 1, and now we're on a calendar year.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Now, sure, there's lots of stories behind that year and 17 days. Perhaps for another day.
Surprisingly few. I've got to say, I've been impressed with just about every single person and the culture and everything else. I am very, very happy to say, and there's always a leap of faith with these things, and I've witnessed clients and colleagues go through similar things. And yeah, as much due diligence as you do, there's always going to be that leap of faith. Did we marry the right partner? And you know, I consider 12 months the honeymoon period, and again, you know, I'll go back to my toothbrush analogy. It's really nothing worse than that. There's always going to be something.
Okay. Congratulations are in order then, because that story doesn't always track that way. So good for you guys.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Now that I've said all this, I probably just completely jinxed us, right?
I'll knock on wood real quick somewhere over there. So
thank you.
All right, good. Hey, all right, Steve, why don't you give us the same drill? We'll go through everybody here real quick.
Yeah. So Steve Dubin, PR Works. We have a lightly used public relations firm. We've been around for a little over 30 years. And I don't have an annual plan. We try to look at where we're at in terms of immediate business in hand and things in the pipeline on a very regular basis. I would say weekly. A lot of our activities, and kudos to Joe for producing a weekly e-newsletter, has been enough to really prod our growing audience into having increased business for us on a regular basis. And I think having been in business over 30 years and trying to do the right things, we're now starting to get a lot of repeat business, organic business over the transom, referral business. And so we're pretty busy and not looking to grow beyond the 3-person staff we have. But we obviously want to maintain that. I'm not quite sure what to fully attribute to our current success, but I guess you don't want to look too closely over your shoulder when things are going well.
Fair enough. Well, with a 3-person team, but you don't probably have to look much further than the 3 people making it happen. So I think that's the best testament right there, is if you guys are working as a well-oiled machine and the pipe is staying full, then kudos to that. But there is that longer-term vision, so that's a different discussion. So hopefully the next part of this will maybe trigger some thoughts into that. Cool. All right, I'm Joe. I will pop back. Yeah, let's go to you, Joe. You and Steve are kind of in the same boat, but why don't you put your spin on it?
Okay, Joe DeRamo. In addition to my pinnacle, well, I've been in business for, let's see, I'm going to answer the questions here. So, the name of my business is High Road Communication. So I've been doing a lot of my work for Steve, most of my work for Steve for the last 18 years. Basically, I started as a freelance copywriter and morphed into the marketing, communications, and PR stuff, which is what I do with PR Works. And as Steve mentioned, there's not a formal plan. In terms of tracking, I mean, my personal thing is I look at the previous year and I want to keep building on that. And numbers wise, not quite the same as last year, but I think in terms of trying new things and setting things up or in shape to take on some new things, like some teaching and some other types of products to put out there. That's something that's been done over the years, but this year it seems to be more of a focus. What are things impacting the current situation? It's all about touches. How many touches?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's prospects, whether it's clients, and just staying out there with a regular newsletter and doing networking events. That's how you get out there, and it's a timing thing for most folks.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. Thank you, Joe. So if you think about it, with this group here, quite a diverse set of answers on that. Some formal plans, some no plans, some really formal plans. We're heavy on the metrics and the check-ins. So not surprisingly, even with a small group, we've got the gamut of what people are doing. And, that is now the one thing that can be said for all of us is that with or without that formality, there's some basic fundamental blocking and tackling exercises we can all do to kind of say, all right, how are we doing? A lot of this time, this stuff's in your head and you're kind of gauging it on, feel for last year, and you get some basic numbers. Your gut's telling you, hey, this is a good year compared to last year. But sometimes getting that out and down on paper is the best medicine to kind of really open your eyes. So I think this next part, we're just going to introduce you guys to a very simple exercise. Sometimes it's like sometimes the simplest things are the best things to work on, and it's basically a exercise to go in and do a checklist. And I'm going to hand the ball over to Flavia here to describe that, because we're going to go into the breakout rooms and work on it. I'm going to share the screen again real quick so Flavia can set it up. And then Joe, you can basically, when we get there, just split the group in half, and
yep.
Maybe you go one way, Steve goes the other way, and we'll have 2 good groups. And so let's get back to my share. All right, make sure you're working. Share that. Where are you? Go back and do that. All right. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Ed. Thanks, everybody, for sharing. And really, the spirit here, as you can see, with the initial question is, we're looking for that clarity, right? The clarity of where are we going? How are we doing? And we promised a 4th quarter focus, right? Like how to finish strong. So we're going to continue to dig a little bit deeper. And if you have been here in our previous Coffee with the Coaches, you know that we are all about prioritizing and bringing the most important into focus, and then taking consistent action behind it. And that's where we're going to go next. So we're going to continue to dig a little bit and ask you to think about, first of all, in the different areas that we're going to show now, and maybe Ed, you can start scrolling of your business, which one would bring the most impact in the fourth quarter? So I'm already picking up on some things like touch points, which would be marketing and sales. Yeah, perhaps there's operations that need focus. Product or service offerings, are there any adjustments? Maybe Carol is thinking along those lines, right? And that's where the focus should go. And, you know, with Chris, maybe it's people and culture, right? Everything is tracking. So how can I make my organization, especially after a merger, that much stronger, that much more aligned so we can continue to grow? Maybe it's IT. Maybe my systems are not supporting my activities the way that they need to. Maybe it's customer service. Maybe I'm not serving them the best way that I could, or that supporting them in the best way that I could. So you know, and then obviously finances, you know, sometimes it's all about the cash flow. Cash is king. So maybe I need to pay attention to my cash flow, what's going on with my finances. And finally, here at Tab, we always say we're business owner coaches, right? So some of these conversations are very strategic. Some are about you and your role and your impact. So sometimes it's like, I need to change. I need to grow into my role as a leader, as a business owner. And these are the things that I need to focus on to make that happen. So it's more of a leadership topic. So as we go into the breakout rooms, I invite you, and I'll put it in the chat, these categories, to first of all, think about which category would deliver the most impact for your fourth quarter, finishing strong, either to match your goal, to break, you know, to get even better, to perhaps get back on course. And then we're going to do the stop, start, continue exercise. So in that category, what do you need to stop doing? Perhaps something that's getting in the way. What do you want to continue doing? Things that, you know, deliver results, but perhaps you're not focusing on that. And then perhaps, are there any things you need to start doing? And we can have a discussion. So in the breakout, we're all going to share, and, you know, we learn from each other. And perhaps there are some ideas that will be common themes in the rooms. And then we'll come back here and debrief and talk about what we discovered.
All right. Well, that's where we are, you know, now kind of, you know, let's kind of kick around what people talked about. And, you know, Flavia, probably best if you and I sort of summarize what we heard in the room, just in the spirit of keeping us moving along with time. You want to go first?
Sure, happy to jump in. It's interesting because Chris had a, you know, very focused action for marketing and sales. He wants his, you know, new salespeople to open up a new channel. They for mortgages, they tend to focus on real estate and networking and agents and networking and so on. And he really sees a lot of benefit in focusing on financial advisors. So his goal is to educate them, motivate them to try this new channel. So, which I thought it was interesting because we're trying to put things neatly into a bucket, and it's definitely marketing and sales, but I think there's a huge people and culture component too, because you're asking a group of people to behave differently. So such a great challenge for him, but he seems up to the task. There was some great feedback from Steve and Gina on how to go about it. And then Gina, hers is, you know, being able to train her assistant so she can let go of the minutia, the day-to-day. Again, a hybrid, I'd say, right? Because there's letting go of customer service, but she also does a little bit of marketing and she does operations. But mainly we focused, I think her role as a business owner was the main thing. It's like the challenges of delegation, when to completely let go and how to let go and not be so on top of them that they can start to get their footing right and move on. So the stop there was like, stop being so available, which is going to naturally happen for Gina because she's has a fabulous trip planned. So that was our group. And then Steve was just there supporting us and hosting with me.
It was good. All right. And so on our side, we had, you know, so Art and Carol, both solopreneurs. So it was interesting, you know, but different focus. So Art was focusing in on operations at this point, has brought on a person to help, but that person's inexperienced in the work that Art does. So there's a bit of what he needs to start doing is delegating, but it's that choice of what to delegate, you know, and how to properly bring that person along in a productive way. And that's always a tough place to start out, is you got to start with something, right? And then you build, but you're doing the right thing by getting that help, because as a solopreneur, we can't do it all. At some point, we do need some help. So that was a big one there. And in the fact that you're looking to add the new product with the EV charging stations. So there's that pull there. So it's operations plus a product pull on you right now as to how to finish this year strong. The EV stuff could turn into revenue this year, but more likely it's setting the table for, product in the future or services in the future going there. So again, in more of that operations bucket because of being a solopreneur, have to do all that stuff. Carol is focusing on marketing. She's new. This is new to her. So it's marketing and products. It's those two things. It's what should I bring to market? What should my product offering look like? And, contemplating and deciding to go get a certificate in executive coaching, but that's going to take some time. So in the meantime, leveraging her psychology, certs and background to start some coaching and start getting in the game there. And then the continue is to the people in the funnel already in the pipeline, work those people, follow up with the people in that middle part of the funnel and on for more short-term gain, knowing that people dropping into the funnel cold likely don't convert to revenue in the fourth quarter, but there's a bunch of people she's been meeting along the way, put her energy on trying to convert that to get that momentum through fourth quarter. So there's a start in the marketing side where we start focusing in on the marketing and the products. And there's a continue in that nurturing those relationships that are already going. And then Eddie is in his world, because he's biz dev, marketing and sales, really just looking to get more seats filled. They have a number they're shooting for in the middle of a cold outreach campaign right now, of getting that going and ramping it up. It's right at the beginning of it. So all the energy is on execution of that cold outreach campaign and, and staying the course on that. And I think in all three cases, the emphasis was on identifying and putting blockades up for those distractions. Since we, there's a lot of distractions, especially in the solopreneur world, getting laser focused on the urgent and important and things you need to focus on, using exercises like stoplight to put them on paper, but staying really focused and in the moment on the urgent and important is probably the biggest takeaway for all of this, and to understand where your distractions are coming from and keep them at bay, and then good things will happen. So that was a good thing. Again, Joe was there more supporting him. We ran out of time. So Joe, we didn't have time for Joe to tell that, but as you can see, it gets you thinking, right? That's the whole idea behind any of these things. And so we're gonna roll now. I'm gonna just share again real quick, and we're gonna just kind of bring this thing in with some final thoughts. Let me go back over here, advance. Get through this. And all right, so final words on this thing, right? Establish plans. There's a high level view to all of this stuff that we can all see. You guys all seeing that okay? Or did I get thrown out?
No, we're not seeing your screen.
Not seeing my screen. You got to click that little blue button that says share. That does wonders. All right. Good. All right. Now you should be seeing it. So it starts with plans, right? In any of our worlds, especially when you're the solopreneur, it begins with your vision. And then that vision leads to critical success factors. What are the determining factors that are going to allow you to get to that vision? Whatever that vision is, there are those critical success factors. Those are the bigger ideas of the things that need to be accomplished in order to get you towards that vision. Below those critical success factors, there are a series of strategies. Those are the activities that in plans, that stand alone, that play into satisfying that critical success factor, which builds towards your vision. You establish goals around those strategies. You create action plans around achieving those goals. You review them weekly and you prioritize daily. So, and that's sort of the overview from that. Flavia, you want to add some thoughts to that too, just because we really bring this back around to this.
I think you summarized it perfectly, because in the stop in our discussion, it also got in like how distracted do you get, right? And there were some discussions about keeping it visible, keeping things in front of you. And this is one of those cases, right? Because whatever you identified as the fourth quarter focus, should be happening daily, because that's easy, right? Bite-sized pieces, a little bit at a time. And sometimes the urgent gets in the way, or even like those procrastination tendencies, whatever, a lot of things can get in the way. And the whole point of this exercise is to bring that clarity up to the forefront so that you can make it easy by having it in front of you, right? Prioritize it daily. We talked about strategies and goals and action plans, but if you know what you're prioritizing daily, then it becomes easier, much, much easier.
Exactly. That stoplight exercise, that's just a means to an end, right? That's, there are many different ways to accomplish the same outcome of that. But really what that falls into, if you look at it based on this slide, that's part of defining strategies. If you think about it, you already have a vision as to why you're doing what you're doing, and you probably have that big critical success factor, like, well, I got to get to here, and this is where I'm heading. That's part of my long-term vision. But what's often lacking is the clarity around the strategies that are, have to be identified. The start doing, the stop doing, the continue doing, those are all actions around those strategies, and what are they? Pull those out, get them documented. You're going to create goals and metrics for those KPIs, but it's that planning piece of it and that visibility on it and keeping urgent and important. And it all weaves together. But if you don't have it out and you don't have it down on paper somewhere, figuratively on paper, it's really hard to keep that straight in your head, especially as a solo. There's so many things pulling at your time running your business that you may think you got it all under control and you can keep it sorted out in your head, but time is going to be your enemy on that, because as time goes on and your world gets more complicated, you're going to miss stuff. We're all human. We have different capabilities for memory. We're all different in that regard, but we are all just mortal at the end of the day. So being intentional by pulling the stuff out, documenting it, and then coming back to it and refining and paying daily homage to it is really the key for that. So hopefully this sort of little exercise just got you thinking bigger. That's really the intent of all this stuff, is to get you to step back a bit, come out of the noise a little, because we're in the noise every day. Lift yourself out of it a little bit and get some anchors in place for the bigger stuff. All right, so I'm gonna stop the share here now. We're gonna just shift over to anybody has any questions on anything we talked about, and we'll open that up first real quick, and then we'll go around and ask everybody what their best takeaway from today's discussion was. So, anybody have a question?
Ed, can I just jump in? Is there a one sheet that gives us a big picture and form for planning? Developing an annual plan?
I was just going to ask the same thing.
I'm in December.
Yeah, come back to our webinar in December. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah,
that is literally the focus of the December coffee.
Yeah, no, a one pager.
I hear Chat GPT is pretty good for that.
Yeah, good point, Joe. You know what? In our world, Flavia and I can have that discussion. We have a lot of little tools and stuff we pull together. A one pager. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't have one off the top of my head. I have a bunch of individual one pagers that make a 5-pager probably. But let me think about that. And Flavia and I will compare notes on that too, and see if we can't pull a little, just sort of a high level overview. To that page we did show is sort of foundational to that in a way. There are the major steps. If you think about your world, that vision, the critical success factor, the strategies, goals, etc. That is a framework in and of itself, as well, and that will be in this slide.
How we go about it. We just
that is our master plan in tab. That is literally the tab kind of mindset. Get that vision locked in. Create those critical success factors and build from there, and take it down to that daily work, all building up to it. So in essence, that is sort of a one pager. I'm not sure it's in the spirit exactly of what you were thinking about, Steve, but it speaks.
Well, I was hoping for a simple form that I could file and then ignore for another year. So
well, I could send you many of those. I'll just pick one.
Yeah, right. Thank you. No, you're not right. That would be useful. Just your outline of referring to your outline is useful. Thank you.
All right. So we just hit the top of the hour. So folks obviously had to drop off due to commitments. Carol, best takeaway for you today. What's your takeaway from the last hour?
It was thinking about what is most likely to generate a cash injection. in a
Mhm.
short period of time.
Okay, very good.
Hmm.
And Art, what about you?
I think for me, it's I think being able to focus more. And I've been kind of in planning stages, but I think it's time to kind of put things in place and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And
Plan
it's
and move.
Monday, but
Great. All right. Very good. And Steve, takeaway from today, if you want.
Just have a bigger picture plan. I'm pretty good at, daily looking at the tasks in front of me. And occasionally I plan longer term, but it would be better to have a more formal plan.
Yeah. Great. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, no, one of the things that really was apparent to me is how much time it's going to take just to plan for 2025. It sounds like a real project. So, uh, I have a project 2025 of my own.
Yeah, we're gonna go with yours.
Me too.
You went there, huh?
You had to go there. So we'll turn that up. All right, very good, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate seeing you again. Great to meet you, Carol. Good luck with everything. And hope to see you at the next one, and to connect offline from here too. And continue to grow our networks. It'd be
nice
great.
to see
Yes.
everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Yes,
very much.
we will be sending out the recording of this and also ways to contact Ed and Flavia. I would encourage you to do a one-on-one with them, and they also have a mastermind roundtable that they often invite people to, and I've attended. You take a deeper dive into the issues that are affecting your business. So I would encourage keeping the conversation going with them, and we'll send out notice for our next coffee with the coaches in the final quarter of the year. So have a good day, everybody.